Welcome back, YouTube. Today we're going to be talking about Togekiss. Togekiss is amazing, one of my all-time favorite Pokemons. If it's in the game, I'm putting Togekiss in some team. It's in most of my teams, to be perfectly honest. I use this thing all the time. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. But first, guys, if you're not, drop a like and subscribe to the channel. Totally helps the channel out, and it's free. But otherwise, let's dive right on in. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with the bulk here for Togekiss, because it is a relatively bulky Pokemon. So the HP stat is its lowest bulk stat here at 85, but 85 itself isn't bad. That's kind of middle ground, so that's not too bad in and of itself. And then you look at its defenses at 95 for physical defense and 115 for special defense, and it has the capability of being a very tanky, very spongy Pokemon. It's not like Charizard that has definite things that are going to drop it in one hit. It's able to survive a lot of damage, so it can actually put out some damage or be a fantastic support Pokemon. Now, in regard to its speed is 80, so again, kind of that middle ground area there. Not too low, not too high, but something you can definitely work with. Its attack stat is definitely the lowest at 50, so you're probably not going to be doing a physical attack build on Togekiss. However, it does boast a 120 special attack stat, which is its highest stat, and that is a pretty good attacking stat for us to be able to use, and there's a lot we can do with it for this Pokemon. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the abilities for Togekiss. We're going to start with Hustle. Hustle is going to increase the attack stat by 50%, but this is going to lower the accuracy of the physical attack moves by 20%. Now, keep in mind, your special moves are not affected by this at all. So something like Air Slash or Dazzling Gleam not going to be affected. This would be for Peck or things with that physical nature, and with that 50 base stat, you're probably not going to want Hustle on any of your Togekiss builds unless you're doing some really funky, fun builds that aren't going to yield you a whole lot of success. Now, Super Luck is the hidden ability, and that's going to increase your critical hit ratio by 1 stage. Not too bad. However, the ability we're really going to be looking at pretty much always is going to be Serene Grace, and that is not a hidden ability, so it's easier to get. And essentially, this is going to make it easier for any secondary effects you have on your attacks, like Air Slash causing things to flinch. It's going to increase the likelihood of those secondary effects happening. So this is a fantastic ability here for us, and we're going to use this pretty much on every build that the Togekiss has. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the resistances that the Togekiss boasts, and it is going to have an immunity to both ground and dragon type Pokemon, so it has a double resistance, or a double immunity, which is amazing. So something like a Garchomp, for example, that runs specifically heavily off of ground and dragon type moves is basically null and void unless it has something like a Rock Slide. But 2 of its big hitting stab bonus moves, Garchomp is now worthless for those. And then something like a Groudon, which has a lot of ground type moves, all those earthquakes are never going to hit that Togekiss. So that's really, really nice to have. Just keep in mind, they do tend to have those rock slides on those too. Other resistances that it boasts, it is going to be a 1/4 resistance to fighting and bug types. So those moves are only going to do 25% of the total damage they would normally do to the Togekiss. So 75% of that damage is negated, which is awesome. And then Grass and Dark type will only do half of the total damage. So it has 6 different immunities and resistances under its belt, which is really, really solid. Now, it does have some weaknesses. It is going to be weak to both Poison, Rock, Ice, Steel, and Electric typings, and it is going to be a 2x weaknesses. Luckily, Togekiss doesn't have any 4x weaknesses, so nothing is going to really be able to come out and one-shot it very, very effectively all the time consistently. There are things that can do a lot of damage to it, especially if they have choice specs or something like that. However, it's a very bulky Pokemon, and without having a 4x weakness, it just lends more credence to the usability of this Pokemon. Hey guys, if you're liking this video or it's helping you at all, please feel free to drop a like and subscribe. It definitely helps the channel out. Also, feel free to come by the Twitch channel where we do mostly Pokemon Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Lots of raids, shiny hunting, battles, you name it. But let's go ahead and get back to the rest of the video. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the first build here for the Togekiss. We are going to do a special attack and speed build here. This is a very linear moveset here, so it's going to be focused on just getting as much damage out as you possibly can, as fast as you can. So we're going to do 252 into special attack, 252 into speed, and you can throw the additional 4 into whatever you like. I just put it into HP here. So the moveset, we're going to be all, again, coverage except for protect here. We're going to be doing Dazzling Gleam and Air Slash as our stab bonus moves. Now, Dazzling Gleam is nice because it is going to give us that fairy typing as a stab bonus, but it's also going to hit 2 enemies on the opposite side of the field. So if you're looking more for a mono moveset where you're hitting one specific target, you can switch this out for something else. However, I really like having Dazzling Gleam. It does a lot of good things in your battle. Now, Air Slash is also great because it has the ability to flinch, and that's going to go really well with our Serene Grace. So Air Slash is not only going to get the stab bonus, does a good amount of power damage on its own, but also has that ability to make things flinch. And then Flamethrower is just a good coverage type move for us here, especially if you're going to pair the Togekiss with something like a Groudon that's going to be able to set the Sunny Day. And then Protect is going to allow us to have a little bit more versatility on the field. So if we know that they're sending something out to target the Togekiss, we can use Protect, maybe pivot in one of our other Pokemon to kill whatever that threat is to the Togekiss, like a Luxray or whatever it is, so that we can kill that thing down and then the Togekiss can get back into action doing what it needs to do. Okay, so for ability item nature here, we are going to be doing the Serene Grace as much as we can, if not always, because it is going to increase the amount of times that the secondary effect for any of your moves that have a secondary effect, like Air Slash, actually procs and goes off and hits. So Air Slash will be able to flinch a lot more often than it wouldn't without Serene Grace. That's why we're going to use that more often than not. As far as the nature, we are going to be either doing Timid or Modest. I like doing Timid here to give me as much speed as I can on the field. However, you could do Modest if you want a little bit of boost to the special attack to your damage ratio. But again, I do like having Timid here since I'm kind of focused on that. As far as items, you can choose Life Orb, Choice Scarf, or Choice Specs. You could also do something like Leftovers, but for a build like this, I like to have as much damage out as possible or as much speed as possible. So Choice Scarf isn't a bad option here. It's going to allow you to kind of go in real quick, do a ton of damage, and then get out if you need to pivot out. But I do like having the Life Orb or Choice Specs option here. Either one is going to boost your damage. Obviously, Choice Specs is going to lock you into a single move, but it's going to make you do a crazy amount of damage. So either one of those is kind of my preference, and I do toggle back and forth between the two as to which one I prefer. Life Orb maybe 60% of the time, 55, 60, and Choice Specs, 45, 40, somewhere around that range. Okay, so this next set here is going to be majorly a bulk set. So we're going to be really working on the meatiness of the Togekiss in this build, and we're going to do that with putting the EVs into our defense, HP, and special defense. So defense is going to be 156, HP 252, and special defense 100. So again, we're really trying to make this as meaty as we can because this is going to be a support bulk set that we have here. Now, for the move set, there's a lot that you can do for the 4 different moves, but for the most part, you want Follow Me and Protect for this build because this is going to be a Follow Me Pokemon. Now, Roost is going to be really beneficial here if you have the TMs for it or you've learned it, then this is going to be really good for you because it is a bulk set, so having Roost is going to allow you more survivability on the field. And then Air Slash is just going to give you a little bit of coverage and the possibility of making some things flinch if you just need a little bit of DPS out. Let's say you've brought something down to like 5% HP, and so you just want to kill it but not waste the other Pokemon that you're with. You could just use the other Pokemon to attack their second and finish off whatever with Air Slash here. But again, this is mostly a Follow Me and Protect Togekiss set that we're working on here, and that's so you can utilize things that have a belly drum or are going to be using Dragon Dance, getting them to get whatever that partner Pokemon is, allowing them the time to get those moves off to boost themselves so that they can decimate whatever's on the field. Protect is obviously going to allow you to mitigate incoming damage. You can actually kind of fool people with these Follow Me sets. They think that they're already going to be attacking the Togekiss, and now they're targeting the Togekiss with a specific kind of move like Thunderbolt or something that it's weak to, and you can predict that using protect yourself, and now you don't have to worry about the Togekiss dying way earlier on than you really wanted it to. Alright, so we are going to be going with Serene Grace again, especially if you have Air Slash on there. You want that possibility of if you do attack, to make sure you flinch somebody, especially if it's slower. Obviously, that's kind of the best case scenario, but that's what we're going to go with for Serene Grace here. And then for the nature, we're going to go with Bold. So again, we're working on the meatiness here, working on our bulk. So we want to make sure that we can live as long as possible. And then for the items, a couple different things you can do here. But for the most part, I'm either going to go with the berries or leftovers. So La Papa Berry, which is going to heal you when you get down to 25% and boost you back up to 75% of your HP-ish, depending on where your HP was. And Citrus Berry, which at half HP is going to heal you for a little bit less than a La Papa Berry. But La Papa Berry won't cause you confusion if you have the bold nature. If you go with a different nature, you are going to either want to use the Citrus Berry or the corresponding berry for that nature, so you don't confuse yourself on that big heal. And then one other little thing, you can add Life Dew onto this moveset as well. Since this is a support moveset, Life Dew isn't terrible to allow you to heal your partner Pokemon. Let's say it's a Charizard and you did use a Belly Drum and it's down to 50% HP. Well, you've got Follow Me, that's great, but what if they're using something like a Dazzling Gleam or a Rock Slide that hits both on the opposite end? And to clarify, if Charizard gets hit with a Rock Slide at 50% HP, it's dead anyways. But if it has a little bit more damage than you would like it to have, and you're going to be able to kill 2 things on the field or finish 2 things off, whatever it is, maybe with the Togekiss you want to heal your partner Pokemon in that turn with the Life Dew, just giving them a little bit more survivability and working on your own HP as well. So that is a possibility too. Okay, this final set here is going to be a bit of a hybrid build. Okay, so we are going to have 252 EVs into speed because we do want to make sure we are as fast as we can be, but we are going to put some EVs into bulk as well. So we're going to do 160 into HP, 80 into defense, and 16 into special defense. Now, special defense is the better of the base defensive stats for the Togekiss, which is why we're putting less. But we do want to have a little bit into defense and special defense and a bigger majority into that HP stat, and we'll kind of get into that in a minute. Okay, so for the moveset here, we're going to do Roost or Life Dew. I prefer Roost in this case because we are actually going to be making this an offensive Pokemon with Nasty Plot. So I like Roost here to be able to heal whenever we need to, and with the added EVs into our bulk, we should have a little bit more survivability. Air Slash is going to be our attack, our one big attack here. Mono attack, we're going to single it out, we're going to hit it, and with Serene Grace, hopefully we get it to flinch, and that's going to be one of our big stab bonuses here, along with Dazzling Gleam as our secondary attack for stab bonus as well. Now keep in mind, the power for Dazzling Gleam is going to split between the 2 targets, but it is going to hit 2 targets and have the stab bonus for that accordingly. You could substitute something in here for Thunder Wave. It's not a bad option, but because we have Roost and Nasty Plot, I don't like to have another third non-damaging skill on the Pokemon. It's something you can do. A lot of people do that, and that is perfectly okay to do, but I prefer having at least 2 moves for coverage here, so it's up to you how you want to do it. But Nasty Plot is really where the money lies on this specific moveset. So Nasty Plot is going to sharply increase our special attack, which is going to make the Togekiss do a devastating amount of damage without having to put any EVs into its attack, its special attack stats, or wearing choice specs or anything like that. It's just going to make it nasty right out of the gate, and that's why it's Nasty Plot. So one turn, Nasty Plot, next turn, everything's dead. So I personally like to have these paired with Follow Me type Pokemon so that I know that I'm going to be able to get that Nasty Plot off and still have a good, reasonable amount of HP to kind of go in there with this now really nasty damage Pokemon and just drop everything out. But that's perfectly up to you what you want to do. It's a little bulky anyways, so it can take some damage, generally speaking, out of the game. Okay, with all of our moveset and EVs, now let's look at ability item nature. We've got Serene Grace again as the ability, and then we are going to do the Quiet Nature again to work on a little bit of bulk for this Pokemon. Now, as far as the item with Nasty Plot, you don't really need damage up items, and you certainly don't want to get locked into a choice item where you can only use 1 move. So choice specs, choice scarf, those do not work for this moveset whatsoever. You could do a Life Orb or an Expert Belt. However, I personally just like the leftovers, complementing the bulk that we have on the Pokemon, getting a little HP back every turn, and just kind of giving us a little bit more survivability. So leftovers, Quiet for the nature, and then Serene Grace for the ability. And this is a really fun moveset to use, but not just fun, it's actually quite viable as well. This could be a very, very good, solid moveset for you. So at the end of the day, Togekiss has a lot of versatility, and there's actually a lot of different ways you can build the Togekiss, and a lot of different ways you can use it, anything from straight offense to semi-bulk to bulk. I mean, it's got so many different things you can do. I love the fact that it has Follow Me. I love the fact that it can be a massive offensive threat. It's just a very, very versatile Pokemon, and one of my personal favorites that I have in many, many teams. Probably about 60% of the time I have this Pokemon in a team, assuming it's in that corresponding game. But generally, I always have the Togekiss. I love it. It's a great Pokemon to have. And guys, if you enjoyed this video or it helped you out, please like and subscribe. It definitely helps the video out, and it's free for you, so it doesn't cost you anything, and it certainly helps us on our end. So thank you so much. Otherwise, I appreciate you guys for hanging out. You guys rock, and I do look forward to seeing you all in the next video. But until then, take care.